Hey everyone, finished watching the next episode of Beetleborgs Horror Hotel. The Hillhurst monsters have turned Hillhurst into a hotel. There's already a few guests, a swamp creature, a witch doctor, and newlywed zombies. Harabelle and Nukas are spying from outside. They plan on making a monster disguised as a hotel guest to ambush the Beetleborgs. Les Fortunes draws up Fernzilla, a tree monster. Harabelle disguises her as a short old woman holding an apple. Okay. This plot would probably make more sense if Fernzilla was from the comics and in danger of being recognized by the kids. Whatever. The kids hide in the basement from the guests. Little Ghoul tells the kids she doesn't like the mansion being a hotel, and they make a plan to return the place to normal. Fernzilla comes to Hillhurst. Flabber tries to tell her there's no rooms available, but she invites herself in anyway. The kids tell Flabber that Little Ghoul is planning on scaring away the guests. Flabber wanted the hotel to work out, but currently he's found it overwhelming. He agrees to let the kids help Little Ghoul. The kids bug out. Drew and Roland get chased around by the swamp creature. Joe sees Fernzilla eating plant food and finds that suspicious for some reason. Fernzilla reveals her true form, and the kids Borg and chase her outside. They zap her away and return to Hillhurst. The guests are all angrily leaving because their shoes were stolen, which is kind of weird for the witch doctor and swamp creature. Did they even have shoes? It turns out Little Ghoul is making soup with the stolen shoes, and all the monsters are more than happy to have some with her, so they're not too broken up about the hotel feeling. This episode's fun, but filled with stuff that makes no sense. Nukas' latest plan isn't super creative, but at the same time, it's needlessly convoluted. Why disguise a monster if it's intended to fit in with other monsters? The old woman they disguise it as has an apple. I thought this was a reference to the Wicked Queen of Snow White who tries to poison the heroine with an apple, but for whatever reason, the apple disappears and never gets use of any kind. Fernzilla drops her disguise almost immediately after meeting only one of the kids. This leads to another weird thing. Joe figures out the old woman isn't who she appears to be because she's eating plant food. Somehow, after 50 episodes of ridiculous shenanigans with monsters and creatures of every sort, I find it hard to believe Joe would be fazed by a weird person eating plant food in Hillhurst. They're willingly in Hillhurst. I'm wondering if this plot was originally intended for the first season. The monster would be disguised so the kids don't recognize it from the comics. They have an encounter with the monster, but it gets away and disguises itself. The kids wonder if one of the hotel guests could be the monster, and when they see the old woman eating plant food, that's the clue that tips them off. Maybe that's exactly what happened. They held off on using this plot because they were waiting for a plant monster? I'm not sure why bother, since they have no trouble making monster suits themselves. Very strange. I'd love to know what was going on behind the scenes here. The Japanese footage fight scenes include Nukas and Harabelle joining in and putting on their battle masks, only to then retreat. Alrighty then. The Hillhurst hotel guests are definitely the highlight here. The swamp creature is inspired by Swamp Thing, probably. The witch doctor is based off a combination of stereotypical witch doctor looks from several cultures, but his main inspiration, I'm thinking, may have been the witch doctors of Scooby-Doo. The newlywed zombie couple, I thought, may have been based specifically off zombies from a George Romero movie, but I can't find bride and groom-themed zombies anywhere prior to Beetleborgs. The old woman, or Old Crone, as she's credited, was played by Marie Dugan. According to IMDb, she only has one other credit from a 1970s movie, Chameleon. Maybe her being a disguised monster was a roundabout reference to that film's title. Fernzilla was voiced by Juliana J. Bolden. She has no other acting credits, but she was a music assistant on several Fox Kids and Saban shows, including Power Rangers in Space and Lost Galaxy and Digimon. She was also a story editor for some TV shows in the early 2000s. The swamp creature was voiced by Steven Apostolina, who provided voices for other Saban shows in the past. The witch doctor was voiced by Neil Kaplan, a prolific voice actor with many roles. He previously voiced Venus Claptrap in the first season of Beetleborgs. In Power Rangers, he's best known as Diabolico in Lightspeed Rescue and Gluto in Time Force. Both the swamp creature and witch doctor were played by different actors than they were dubbed by. That's typical for most monsters, but the swamp creature has a visible mouth and the witch doctor is visibly human. This happens occasionally in live-action shows, it's just a little bit more rare. The zombie couple were played by Dave Shipp and Ellen Buckley. Dave Shipp had acting roles throughout the late 90s and appears to have retired. Ellen Buckley had roles in the late 90s and early 2000s, and she apparently returned to acting in the 2020 Call of the Wild movie. Now, this episode was okay, but it needed some tweaking. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.
Don't be afraid, kids. I'm a doctor. A witch doctor. A witch doctor.